no one is above the law, and other lies that we are told. You're getting a lot of hyperbole from many different pundits on there right now. In particular, you're getting people on the left talking about the Trump case again and again and again. Nobody is above the law. Nobody, President of the United States, nobody is above the law. Did you understand how ridiculous you sound when you say that? No one is above the law. Come on. All right, let's stop fooling ourselves. In the same way, you're getting a lot of lawyers on the right, pundits on Fox. Even guys I like to listen to, respect, read the stuff. Jonathan Turley, many others out there talking about what happened and how this is terrible for the legal system. Come on, guys. Come on. We keep talking about the wonders of the American legal system. What planet are you living on, man? Our legal system, jury of our peers. Right. Yeah. How many people listening to this show right now have done everything and anything that they could to get out of doing jury duty? Come on. We unless you're completely oblivious to the world around you and how our legal system works, this crap that no one is above the law. Yeah, there's a reason why certain attorneys make a ton of money. There's a reason why. We did the bit here on the program. This is going back to an old South Park episode where they did Johnny Cochran, and he came up with his Chewbacca defense on South Park. Come on, people. Oh, right. White collar crime is really prosecuted. I went over this here on the program years ago. I recognize this, that people working in prosecutors' office going after white collar crimes, they didn't want to be there. They wanted to buddy up with the defense attorneys, do their time in the prosecutor's office, make nice, and then go ahead and get a job paying them serious money working for the defense. We all watched the Elliot Spitzers of the world use their office to rise up among the political ranks. That happens all the time. No one is above the law. Come on. I'm going to share with you a resume of an evil gentleman. A very evil guy is no longer with us. He worked for Stalin. His name was Lavrenti Beria. His famous saying is, "Show me the man, I will show you the crime." You want to take a look at this guy's CV? Yeah, he came in at the end of the Stalinist Great Purge. After the Soviet invasion of Poland, he organized the Katyn massacre of 22,000 Polish officers and intelligentsia. After the occupation of the Baltic states and parts of Romania, he oversaw the deportations of hundreds of thousands of Poles, Balts, Romanians to the Gulag camps. He was appointed to the State Defense Committee overseeing security, expanded the Gulag camps, mobilizing millions of Gulag prisoners into wartime production. What else did he do? Oh, yeah, he saw the mass deportations of millions of ethnic minorities from the Caucasus, which has been described as ethnic cleansing and genocide. Again, behind the Gulag facilities. He was behind the Soviet atomic bomb project. After Stalin died, he became head of the Ministry of Internal Affairs and the first deputy chairman of Council of Ministers. He was eventually tossed out when Khrushchev pulled his little coup d'etat and took over. He was then arrested and tried for treason, and he was executed. He was also a prolific sexual predator, serially raping scores of girls and young women, and he murdered them as well. Show me the man. His line is, show me the man, I'll show you the crime. Again, nobody's above the law. Right. Anyway, Richard Dooling, author, had a really great piece in the Wall Street Journal talking about this ridiculous insincerity, he's calling it. No one is above the law. He says that saying is both meaningless, but it's inspirational. It's inspirational. It's bullshit is what it is. It's bullshit. Let me give you an example of this. It's prom season. It's prom season, and my young son has got his prom coming up, and the school organized an event where they actually brought people in and talking to the kids about, drugs and alcohol, and also how to go about handling, God forbid, you have to interact with a police officer and how to handle yourself and all sorts of stuff. I've explained to my kids for a very long period of time. Okay. You can't trust the legal system. You can't. Anybody who actually believes in the American legal system, I mean, honestly, there's something wrong with you, quite frankly. Anyway, and in this piece, Dooling makes a suggestion. Anyone who utters the statement that no one is above the law should be forced to submit his or her laptop and smartphone to authorities to search for evidence of crimes. What crimes, you say? I've committed no crime. Okay. Heritage Foundation study. 1,510 federal statutes created at least one crime as of 2019. They contain sections and subsections so complex that the authors had to develop an algorithm to count the estimated 5,199 crimes then in the U.S. Code. Another 300,000 or so regulations may be enforceable by way of criminal punishment at the discretion of an administrative agency. I go off on that all the time. All the acronym agencies there, FCC, ACC, ACC, Atlantic Coast Conference, you name it, FEC, all of them down the line, SEC, can't make any difference. EPA, they act as judge, jury, and executioner. Again, that's just the feds. I could look at the states as well. New York describes at least 575 crimes. Many of them apply to conduct no rational person would expect to be a crime. Yeah, but I had no falsified business records on my phone or laptop. Let's just say you threw your back out. Let's just say you threw your back out one weekend and you can barely walk and you're in so much pain. And you email a friend that you knew went through this in the past that might have a painkiller that might help alleviate your pain till you can go and see a doctor. You are a felon. That's drug diversion. That's felony. Just committed a felony. Yeah. Well, what if you overestimated? You donate clothes to Goodwill, to your church, and you fill a form there, say what they're worth, and what if you put a number on that was too big? That's tax fraud. That's tax fraud. He makes an interesting one here as well. Home equity loan. You're applying for a home equity loan and you overstate the value of your residence. That's bank fraud. Now, if you email that estimation to the bank, that's mail fraud. And if you go back and forth go back and forth with the bankers. Every single email you get is another count of mail fraud. So let's just say you did it 34 times. 34 counts of mail fraud. Yeah. We're at a point in time, and again, this is kind of how messed up this country is, against how ridiculous our judicial system is, you get a guy like Alvin Bragg who says, hey, vote for me. I'm going to find out a way that I'm going to get somebody. I'm going to find a way. I'm going to subpoena it. I'll get all my people on this. We're going to go out and get somebody. Does anybody listening to this program right now? You don't think that an army of prosecutors and a certifiable a-hole like Alvin Bragg and his people couldn't come after you? Because it can. So this is not new. This is not new. They can pick and choose whatever they want. They love, again, this is what prosecutors do. They need to put heads on the wall. You remember the Martha Stewart case? Her stockbroker gave her a tip that some bad news was coming out. What was the stock? It was like a Imclone. Anyway, Imclone there. What was the name of the guy that ran that? Anyway, and I guess she sold early and saved herself $48,000. This is Martha Stewart. $48,000. That's a big deal to Martha Stewart. Oh, yeah, she went to jail for that. We got to put a damn head on our wall, right? No one is above the law. Do you think if it was anybody else but Martha Stewart, do you think the prosecutors would have gone after her? No. Gerard Baker had a piece too in the Wall Street Journal and talking about, again, he basically echoing what my sentiments have been when it comes to the legal system here in the United States. I've got no respect for it all. I think it's a joke. I do. Again, every single time I see another ambulance chasing lawyer out there and the nonsense that they're putting out, it's silly. Still, I told this story before. My wife didn't even get into a fender bender. Okay. Actually touched somebody's bumper from behind. No damage at all. It wasn't even at 1 mile an hour. Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah. That lady, decided to come after us and sue us. I remember our insurance agency wanted to settle and I told them no freaking way. So I'm not doing it. We're winning. And we did win. But, it was BS. And, found out that this person has a history of doing that. Some sort of legal system that makes sense here in the United States. Come on, please stop. But I learned something in Gerard Baker's piece. You know how I often make fun here on the program? I just make fun of the justice is blind. The statues that they have there and holding the scale and justice is blind. Right. Anyway, I'll get into that in a bit. Baker talks about you have to have a touching faith in the majesty of the legal system or be extraordinarily naive to think these cases were decided on a neutral interpretation of the facts and the law and not by the swirling political cultural passions fanned by unscrupulous prosecutors or defense lawyers that consume the minds of jurors. And he was talking about OJ and other cases throughout history. And then I brought up to me my favorite courtroom drama. Guess what that is off the top of your head? Yeah, if you guessed My Cousin Vinny, you'd be right. One thing that always bothered me about My Cousin Vinny was the prosecutor in that case. This is what I didn't understand. He was disappointed that he lost. It seemed like he was disappointed that he lost. When, again, a prosecutor, with truth comes to light, they should be happy. They should be happy because, again, the job is to serve justice. That you want justice. It's not about wins and losses. It's about, oh, gee whiz. Okay. We got the wrong person. Let's go get the right person who's responsible. Isn't that what it should be about? It was funny. If you remember the movie poster for My Cousin Vinny, it said something about there have been many, many great movies about, the courtroom drama, the brilliance of the American judicial system. And then at the bottom, it said, this isn't one of them. I disagree. I think that My Cousin Vinny is an example of how things should work. But anyway, neither here nor there. The use and abuse of justice by clever lawyers and judges for their own ulterior purposes is a rich tradition, older than America itself. And an ironic twist, the iconography. I had no idea. This, again, I love when I learn stuff like this. We've used for centuries to connote impartial administration of law. That's right. What I make fun of all the time, that image of the blindfolded woman holding in her hand the scales of justice. Well, that's a modern reinterpretation of the exact opposite idea. Want to talk about irony here? It began as a sardonic comment on the injustices of the operation of the law. There was a 15th century German satirical classic called Ship of Fools, where a helpless lady justice is being blindfolded by a fool so she can't see the horrors taking place. I couldn't make this up if I wanted to. That's where it came from crying out long. I mean, again, this is just, Trump case, long line of cases in which the administration of law has been polluted by political and ideological considerations. Again, I don't have any problem. Again, this is part of the problem, the lies that we're told. Lies were told both sides. We're supposed to have some sort of confidence in the justice system. Who has that? Why do we have to have confidence? I don't have any confidence in the justice system. I've watched what goes on. I see what happens on Wall Street. I see what happens with guys like Epstein for years, and how gee whiz, and who he knows, and who they can get off, and who you're connected to at some point in time. I see it happen with administrative law. Bernie Madoff, for crying out loud, SEC, right? SEC had all the information on him. Were they fair? No, of course not. Bernie Madoff was buddies with Frank Lautenberg and Chuck Schumer and donates to the right causes. Baker kind of ends up his piece here talking about a further step down in the march towards the annihilation, he says, of the legitimacy of the vital institutions of this country. Yeah, it's another step down, but we're already way down there, at least in my opinion. We've been down there for a long, long time. WatchDog on WallStreet.com.